Is Glenfarclas' Biohazard the perfect whiskey for our times, or is it the antidote? Welcome to Kanpai Planet, I'm Mac, and today we're taking a look at this Japan-exclusive Glenfarclas 25-year-old whiskey released to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Biohazard, also known as Resident Evil. Resident Evil, known in Japan as Biohazard, is one of the most influential video game series of all time. First released in 1996 by Capcom, it's a survival horror game series initially centered around the Umbrella Corporation, a pharmaceutical company that is developing biological weapons.
Our business is life itself.
And a group of characters determined to fight back.
I'm gonna have to kill you.
Resident Evil has expanded into a live-action film series, animation, comic books, many other media, and lots of merchandise. Some of it quite bizarre. The Glenfarclas distillery was first granted a license in 1836. In 1865, it was bought by John Grant and is still owned and run by his descendants, currently the 5th and 6th generation, making it one of only a few distilleries in Scotland to remain family-owned and managed. It's located in Ballindalloch, in the heart of Speyside. The distillery has 6 stills, which are the largest on Speyside, all direct fire gas burners, creating a rich distillate that can cope with the distillery's signature cask choice, Oloroso sherry. So how did this serene Scottish distillery end up making a zombie video game whiskey? Well, pop culture collaborations are currently all the rage in the whiskey world. And no more so than Japan, where many Scotch bottlings can be found with labels adorned with manga, anime, and kaiju characters. Glenfarclas, who are very popular in Japan, have got in on this action. They bottled a 9-year-old in 2020 to celebrate the 35th anniversary of popular manga City Hunter. In fact, this is not even Glenfarclas' first Japanese video game collaboration. February 2018 saw the release of Glenfarclas 1987 to 2017 Refill Sherry Hogshead number 3816 Final Fantasy 30th Anniversary, an official name which tells you almost everything you need to know. That collaboration between video game publisher Square Enix and retailer Shinanoya was limited to 303 bottles and retailed at 37,000 yen. And that brings us to this. It's an official release from Glenfarclas. It dropped on the 21st of July 2021, and it's exclusive to the Seijo Ishi supermarket chain, where it could be found at some of their stores and online. They haven't disclosed how many bottles are in this release. Interestingly, a lot of the hype around this release has come from otaku, pop culture, and gamer websites, not from whiskey sources. This 700 milliliter bottle retailed at 38,500 yen after tax, which is about $350 US.
I'll buy it at a high price.
As I've mentioned in other videos, Japan really is a great place to buy Scotch, so much so that you can get the regular Glenfarclas 25 for 13,000 yen. So, what does a 25,000 yen or $230 US premium get you? First of all, it gets you this branding. It comes in this nice box with a front piece that slides up to reveal the bottle inside. The box is adorned with the Biohazard 25th anniversary logo, as is the bottle label. And speaking of the label, the back label actually includes a message from George Grant, the 6th generation head of the Glenfarclas distillery. He writes, "The powerful flavour released from the darkness is almost like the terror you feel when you encounter the toughest enemies in the game." He goes on to say that they will continue to support Biohazard from Scotland so that many people can enjoy the game. Aside from all this lovely branding, the other thing that you're going to get here is a cask strength ABV of 51.6%. That compares to 43% for the OB Glenfarclas 25. The fill strength at Glenfarclas is typically 63.5%. You've played the game, seen the movie, read the comic book, and sprayed the perfume. So now all that remains is to drink the juice. Let's check out the colour. It's a lot lighter than I would have thought. It's more of a gold rather than the amber I expected. Let's go on the nose. Ooh, it's quite floral. I'm getting meadow flowers and fragrant oak, but then behind that classic sherry sweetness. I'm getting brown sugar, dates, raisins, baked apple, but also dried fruits like orange and cranberry, and also some Turkish delight. There's also a vegetal note that permeates, cut grass or wet moss as you go on a hike. Time for the palate. Kanpai. What starts off as classic 100% sherry cask influence, so raisins and figs and dates, transforms into a nuttiness. I'm getting walnut cake and then some coffee. There really is a lot going on here though. I'm getting some strawberry jam, I'm getting some butter, I'm getting some baked bread. There's a really lovely mouthfeel, almost a waxiness to the dram. You've got that body and complexity that comes from the higher alcohol level, but it doesn't overpower the flavors in the dram. The finish is intense and long. Those fruits, berries and raisins I talked about on the nose are back there on the finish, accompanied by a hint of spice and some red apple tartness. So, what's the verdict?
It's magnificent.
It's an elegant Glenfarclas, fresh, crisp, clean flavours. There's much more nuance here than just sickly sweet sugars or overt sherry. In that sense, it's pretty old school. I mean, it's obviously been influenced by its quarter of a century in sherry casks, but it's not a sherry bomb. If you're a fan of cask strength whiskey and the complexity that it delivers, this is going to be right up your street. Now a message from the Umbrella Corporation. Subscribe to Kanpai Planet. That is all. Now, in true video game fashion, I'm going to put this head to head with the classic Glenfarclas 25.
Your future hinges upon this fight.
What to say about this classic dram that hasn't been already said? This is the archetypal, long-aged, sherried Speyside whiskey. Let's check out the colour. This is classic long-aged sherry amber. And like I said earlier, I would have expected the Biohazard to be closer in colour to this. Let's go on the nose. A lot of the notes, the aromas that I got in the Biohazard are in the regular 25. One interesting thing to note is that this has kind of the oaky tannins amped up a little bit. Kanpai? Ooh. I really do love the Glenfarclas 25. It is an absolute fantastic dram with incredible cost performance. There's definitely more sherry punch on this than the Biohazard. The Glenfarclas 25 is a pretty full-bodied dram, but the Biohazard ramps that up with the help of the 51.6% cask strength ABV. The finish here is medium long, a little bit shorter than the Biohazard, and a little more malty and chocolatey. So, head to head, it's tough, but I've got to give it to the Biohazard.
A wise choice, mate.
Yes, thank you, Merchant. Go back to Resident Evil 4. Glenfarclas 25 shows incredible judgment from its producers, this lovely mix of cask spicing and sherry influence. And this is an amped up version of that cask strength 51.6% ABV, giving us not only more bang for our buck, but also a different experience in terms of flavour, mouthfeel and complexity. That sherry punch of the regular 25 is dialed back to give us a fruitier, grassier dram. At this stage I normally talk about the cost performance of the whiskies, but I think that's pretty meaningless when talking about this package here. Suffice to say, it's a lovely dram, and I'm really happy to see that Glenfarclas have pulled out something special for the 25th anniversary bottling.
It's time to close the book on us.
Glenfarclas Biohazard is delicious. It's really just a hazard for your wallet. Until next time, Kanpai.